Hi everyone, I'm Michael. I am a software engineer and recently I've decided that I want to start on a new project, sort of inspired by ChatGPT. So I've just been using ChatGPT a lot recently and I've been really impressed with the capabilities that AI have. So I've decided that I want to try and do an AI project of my own. And or rather the idea that I came up with was to make a Pokemon bot. So a Pokemon that hopefully can become better than any human can possibly be at Pokemon battling. Um, so this idea is also a little bit inspired by learning about things like AlphaGo and hearing about AI bots being able to beat the world's greatest chess players. So I think that it definitely is an idea that is really exciting to me, and I think it has a lot of potential as well. I think that it could be really fun for anyone who's like following this to be able to see just how a bot like this could be built and also just see the progress that I make. And I know that some of my favorite videos on YouTube, for example, have been just following the development process of different games or, projects of that nature. So yeah, I just figured I would go ahead and make a video series and kind of record myself making this. So I guess kind of the lay of the land. So what I have set up so far is um, kind of based a lot on some of the tools that are already out there. So there is a website called Pokemon Showdown that I imagine many people are familiar with, but if you're not, it's basically an online battling simulator for Pokemon where you can go ahead and just like jump into battling. Guess that name's taken. But anyway, um, basically, you can play a lot of Pokemon battles online using this simulator. And it's a really cool tool. And one of the nice things about it is that it's open source. So you can actually just download all the code for this yourself. And someone has made a fork of this tool that allows you to run it locally and basically train, um, AI bots against it. So the setup that I'm using is that I'm hosting this Pokemon Showdown server locally, which I'm doing over here in this terminal. And then I have my actual project training over here in this terminal. And you can see that it just finished running. So this was um, the sort of current network that I have set up, trained over 1,000 Pokemon battles. You can see that on the x-axis, we have the number of turns that it was training on. This is aggregated over 50 turns, and then you can see the loss function is being charted here in the y-axis, also being aggregated over 50 turns. And so you can see that at the start, huge losses, and then it starts to learn. And then kind of around the 300 to 400 x-axis of this chart, you can see that it's really learned pretty well at that point. Um, and so we can go into the output file that I piped everything into just to see what the actual results were. So this is actually really incredible. I've not gotten a win rate this high before on this small of a set of data, but we won 949 battles of 1,000. So, roughly a 95% win rate. It's really good. This took about 3 minutes to run. So it was pretty fast too. And I'm sure you're wondering what this is trained against. So sort of the easiest difficulty of bots that there are just totally random bots. So this is kind of the equivalent of a player who knows absolutely nothing about Pokemon sitting down on the other end and playing against you. So they can do any of the moves that would be available to a regular player just randomly. So that includes choosing random battle moves. That also includes choosing random switches. And yeah, you can see that the network that I have right now was able to beat that at a 95% success rate over 1,000 battles. And you can kind of see with these losses, a lot of the losses occurred earlier on, whereas we only had one loss at all of the 900s. We only had three in all the 800s. So you can see that it's really learning well. I also have a distribution here of the actions that it shows, and you can see that it tended to favor the final move the most or the first move. with the very second move being chosen the least of all of them. Uh, let's see. So you can see some of the values I'm kind of computing here. This is taken from the very final turn of the final battle, which we can see was a victory for our bot. So our Pokemon was a Jinx, who has a Life Orb and the ability Dry Skin, versus a Pikachu Lola, I think is how you say that. We don't know what item it has. It does have the ability Static, and so that's kind of some of the debug info, and then some of the computed values of my network. So the first four values here are the expected damage of an attack that I have versus the opponent Pokemon. So we can see here that the most effective attack would actually be the third attack. If we look at this list, we have Ice Beam. So Ice Beam would be the most effective attack to use. And then um, the following four values are values that correspond to the accuracy of each attack. So we can see that this very first attack also does a pretty good damage value, but it only has 70% accuracy, and that is Focus Blast. Ice Beam does have 100% accuracy, so we end up choosing the move Ice Beam, and we can see the actual like this final layer of decision making that our network does here. So we can see that we chose Ice Beam, but honestly, it wasn't um, too far removed from some of the other options. They're all kind of roughly equivalent in the network size. So clearly, it still could probably learn better and train better because Ice Beam being the most powerful move with the most accuracy, you would think there'd probably be a little bit more of a difference between these values here. Um, yeah, but that's just a little bit of what I've been working on. So again, the inputs for my network right now, there's only four of them, or rather, there's eight of them. There's the expected damage from the moves, and then the accuracies of those moves, and then there's four actions that we can take, which are any of the four battle moves that we have. So really, this is using a very minimal amount of data so far. So I'm super excited to see where I can take this in the future. I really think that as we add in more features and the ability to do all of the actions that a user can do, like switching, for example, potentially like mega evolving, things like that, I think that this bot can really probably become something special. Um, yeah, so that's kind of high overview of what's going on right now. The way that I'm doing all of this, as I mentioned, I'm using the Pokemon Showdown server instance that's running locally to train against bots that I set up. There is the ability to train against live people, which eventually I want to get to and do that, but I want to definitely get my bot to be better first. Um, the library that I'm using for the machine learning aspect of things is Pytorch. So it's a machine learning library for Python that's developed by Facebook. It's really cool. There's some really good tutorials out there. There's a lot of support for it, so it's very easy to find answers to questions that you have. Um, I definitely think that it's been a really good tool to use so far. I mean, this is like this line or this file is 300 lines, and then the actual network file that I have is about 200. So in only 500 lines of code, you know, you can build a network that can train pretty well against random Pokemon players. So um, yeah, I guess that's kind of the way things are for right now. I'm excited to continue on this project, and I really hope that it goes somewhere. So, all right, let you guys know whenever I make some more progress. Bye.